Hey folks, so today I want to read you something that showed up in my comments. So this is someone speaking. They said, my GI doctor told me to eat more fiber and follow the Mediterranean diet. I've been doing that for 2 years. I'm on my 3rd medication and I'm worse than when I started. Is my doctor an idiot? Hey everyone, so I want to take a moment just to thank you for your support for the channel. We've really been able to do a lot with very little support over these previous months. We'd like to do a lot more, but in order to do that, we really need to grow our audience. So my humble request for you is to please like, subscribe, maybe share this video with others who you think need to see it. Thanks so much. So my honest answer to that is no. Doctors are very good at what they do. They're some of the most educated people on the planet. And they're also compassionate. I mean, people get into medicine because they really want to heal. They want to help you heal, right? The problem is that your doctor is using outdated nutritional advice from the 80s and 90s, and he or she has not learned any better. So it's not about finding a bad doctor or a good doctor. It's about understanding that the system within which nearly all doctors are trained is outdated and is not really serving your needs as an autoimmune patient or a patient with gut flare-ups, right? Whatever you may be. So here's something that most people do not know. The average gastroenterologist receives somewhere but around 20 hours of training on nutrition, right? Put that in the context, that's a 4-year program. They're getting less than, a week's worth of classes on nutrition. It used to be much worse than that. It used to be less than 4 hours. Now I suppose that's an improvement. So your gastroenterologist who knows more about guts and gut medication and the gut biochemistry of the gut than you ever will, they have the equivalent of not even a high school class in nutrition. And when I say that, you should understand this is not meant to criticize. It's meant to understand. This is the structure within which we're all living, right? Doctors are great at diagnosis, they're great at understanding medications and at offering medical solutions. They don't see nutrition or food as a way to heal. That's not how they're trained. So if you're taking nutritional advice from your doctor, I would question whether you're doing the right thing, right? Because your doctor didn't receive much training. And so what they're giving you is basically their own bias based on, they're people like everyone else. They read the newspaper, the magazines, whatever it is, and they look at the internet and they follow the fads and so on. So if he's saying, or she is saying Mediterranean diet or whatever it may be, that's the diet that's popular among doctors at that point in time, right? They don't necessarily have any studies or any data from which to base those recommendations. Now, to the extent that they are rooted in some kind of document somewhere, they're rooted in what are known as the dietary guidelines, right? So this is a process that was started in the US in the 1970s and 1980. I think it's the Church Committee. Sorry, I may have the committee name wrong. But one of those committees in 1976, I want to say, was established to come up with these food guidelines. And in 1980, those first set of guidelines were released, et cetera, et cetera. And every set of guidelines we have, including the current ones, is basically an evolution of those original guidelines, which were made at a time when industry controlled pretty much everything to do with the food supply. Industry controlled everything to do with medicine. Again, not criticizing, it's just a fact, right? They were there and they were making these recommendations, and not based on sufficient science, as some of the scientists in the room were saying at the time. They were saying that these guidelines are not evidence-based, they're not scientifically valid. So does that mean that there's some big conspiracy to keep you sick? No. These things all have a logic. They're happening within a system. If you were a corporate representative in that room, you would have done exactly what those corporate representatives did, because their job is to sell more product. Their job is to educate people about whatever it is, Fruit Loops. Their job is not necessarily to make the entire US population or the global population healthy, right? So we need to understand the incentive structures and therefore understand that the recommendations that are coming out of all this stuff are not the recommendations that are going to suit you as someone who has a gut issue. So in particular, we get more fiber as like a universally applicable gut health recommendation, when the fact is, the studies that we see, when we take fiber out of the diet, people with gut issues tend to improve near 100% of the time. So maybe for some people those recommendations work, but they do not work for people with gut issues. Now, navigating all of this can be super confusing. And this is one thing that I help my clients with, is to try and cut through the noise and to understand what studies are applicable in your particular case. If you're interested in having that kind of conversation with me in a strategy call, the strategy call is free. So I urge everyone to, take advantage of that free tool.
We can have a chat, we can understand exactly what's going on with your particular case. The link to book that free call is down below. So practically speaking, what does all this mean? What I advise everyone, even someone that I'm just meeting on the street who's asking me about this stuff, is don't jettison your doctors, don't get rid of them completely. That's not a useful thing to do. Rather, we should understand the role of a doctor as part of our health team. Even if the health team is just you and your doctor, you're the key person there, right? You have to understand what the doctor can do and you have to make the calls. At the end of the day, even a good doctor will tell you it's your decision, whether you're going to take this medication or not, et cetera, right? So what do the doctors do? The doctors are very good at diagnosis. So they're going to look at their list of possible medical conditions. They're going to see which of those medical conditions fits your symptoms. And they're going to diagnose you. Based on that diagnosis, they're going to give you some medicines. They're also very good. They're very up to date with what are the latest biologics, what are the latest steroids, what are the latest treatment options. And then it's up to you, how do you want to use those treatment options as part of your own plan? And what we would advise people again is, by all means, I'm not saying don't take the conventional medicine, but also know the limitations, know what the side effects are, know how long these things have been, if they've been trialed, how long have they been trialed, how long did people see benefits? Because, sometimes people have been on medicines for years and those medicines were only trialed in human populations for 6 months or maybe 1 year, right? So we need to know what's going on. And then at the end of the day, knowing all that data, you have to make your own plan. So I want to be clear, my role, as a PhD and as a health coach is not to replace your doctor. My role is to help you. I'm on your side. I want you to have the best medical team you possibly can, and including conventional doctors if that's what you choose, right? Whatever medical team is going to suit you. So the way I like to think of my role as a health coach is I'm like your strategist. I understand the human body pretty well. I understand the medical system pretty well. I can help you navigate the intersection between those two things and help you find out, what courses, what medications work, what don't. I can also help you to research some of these things, right? Again, how long has this thing been in practice? How long has it been used? What are some side effects I should be aware of? These are questions that I want everyone to be asking. I wish more doctors would ask them too, to be honest. So, hey, if you are a doctor or if you have something to say about your doctors, if you're working with a good doctor or a bad doctor, let me know in the comments down below. The link to book that free strategy session is in the link down below too, or in the description down below. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.